Now watching AMTM World News with anchors Maggie Alibegzada and Taylor Carlson. Sports with Alex Bayless and tonight's featured story with Mallory Mangun.
Good evening and welcome to AMTM News. Thank you for joining us on this fine Wednesday night.
Tonight's featured story includes a special guest, author and survivor of the Holocaust, Tadeusz Borowski. He is here to discuss his experiences in Auschwitz and his career as an author.
Without further ado, we'll send you over to Mallory and Tadeusz.
Tonight on AMTM News, we have a special guest, Tadeusz Borowski. He is here to recap his experience being a survivor of the Auschwitz concentration camp. So what caused you being arrested in the first place?
Well, my girlfriend at the time was actually involved in the resistance in Warsaw, Poland. I wasn't, but I went to one of the meetings in order to be arrested to meet her at a prison camp.
So is Warsaw where you grew up?
No, actually, my family is from Soviet Ukraine. When my father was sent to an Arctic labor camp in 1926, and my mother was sent to Siberia in 1930, I was sent to go live with my aunt.
Oh wow, were you ever reunited with your family?
Later on, we were reunited back in Poland. I was 17 at the time.
At that point, did you continue your education?
No, actually, that's when the Nazis invaded Poland, and we weren't allowed to attend school any longer. So I started educating myself, and that's when I started to write poetry.
So how did being arrested influence your writing?
A great deal, actually. I began to write short stories about my time in the prison camp.
We interrupt this interview to bring you breaking news.
The U.S. government has discovered that the terrorist group known as ISIS has been trying to make contact with U.S. citizens via social media. ISIS is trying to recruit criminals and anarchists. The terrorists want people that hate the United States government as much as they do. Terrorists have used the tragic events in Ferguson as an outlet to reach non-conforming U.S. citizens to join forces with ISIS. There have been tweets that ISIS is putting out encouraging Americans to destroy the United States from within. One example that was tweeted by ISIS said, quote, "Hey blacks, ISIS will save you," end quote. Hashtag Wake Up America, hashtag Ferguson, hashtag ISIS. They are trying to use public figures such as Malcolm X to recruit Americans. Some Americans have joined forces with the jihadist group. The government says it is hard to know how many people ISIS has already recruited. Agents are tracking ISIS activists around the world to see who they are tweeting and Facebooking. For those of you who may not know what ISIS is, Taylor is going to tell you more about it.
ISIS stands for Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. They are a jihadist terrorist group in Iraq and Syria, and their goal is to obtain land and create their own country. The land they wish to obtain takes up all of Syria and about half of Iraq, and this country would be called ISIS. There are three major groups in Iraq: the Sunnis, the Shiites, and the Kurds. ISIS members consist of the Sunnis, and their goal is to enforce strict Sharia law. They have been committing crimes in Syria and Iraq for some time. However, they are just now making news because they are winning and establishing themselves. They are one of the most successful jihadist groups the world has ever seen.
We will now return to our featured story, an interview with Tadeusz Borowski.
Wow, thanks for that breaking news. It's crazy how such current news relates to your interview right now. So does hearing that bring you back to your experience in Auschwitz?
I'm disappointed by the fact that we haven't learned from history. It actually reminds me of a story I wrote.
Which story is that?
This way for the gas, ladies and gentlemen.
In what way?
In this story, I relay what it's like in the day of the life of a Polish Auschwitz prisoner and how we had to send Jews to their death and take their clothes and their belongings.
So your job was to take their possessions from them?
We actually had to herd them out of the train cars and send them to the gas chambers, and we had to strip them of their clothes and keep their belongings from them, and then we actually got to pick from some of their belongings to keep for ourselves.
I can't imagine how horrific that would be and how torture and violence like that is still happening today.
Me too. I hope one day we can learn from our past mistakes.
I agree. Thank you so much for coming in today, and we appreciate your literature.
No, thank you. This is a great experience.